It's a beautiful morning, so I thought it would be a great time for a walkabout. So let's look at the northeast section of the grove. This, of course, is the Fairchild that I am top working to ST Maui. And we've got a lot of grafts that are already taking. Some scions that I'm preparing. This is one that I thought was interesting. This is very dead here. And I'm not sure if this is ST Maui or Fairchild. So fortunately I have a razor blade. And let's see if we can figure this out. Well, you know, this part is very dead. And here, sometimes buds form on the base plant, but it looks like this is in that wedge that was the ST Maui. So the rest of the scion died, but it looks like that's ST Maui. So that's great news. There's one that failed, but we have a little partner to graft onto right there. This is one of our cherry trees, and you can see a lot of empty panicles up toward the top, but we also have a lot of fruit here and flowers on this area of the tree. So this lower area of the tree is probably flowering a lot later because it doesn't get as much sun, so it didn't get triggered the same way as the top part of the tree. This is Duncan, and basically I'm not seeing any action at all on Duncan yet. Oh, except for on this side. Nothing on the northwest and south side, but here we have some nice fruit. They're just a few panicles, but you know, the rest of the tree will probably bloom soon. This is Namgak Mai. Of course, it has more fruit than it can support on a lot of these panicles. If you just shake them gently, the ones that will fall off on their own definitely do. Don't want to be too aggressive with that because you could end up with no fruit, but this looks beautiful. It's a lot of fruit right now. Here's Pineapple Pleasure. This is definitely a case for taking the fruit off. We've got imperfections. All this will probably drop on its own, but we'll just get it over with quickly. This fruit is looking good so far. This one is not, so no sense wasting our wishes on that. But it actually looks pretty good for Pineapple Pleasure. There have been years that we've gotten like 4 fruit from this tree, and if the weather holds and the mangoes hold on the tree, it could be a pretty good year for Pineapple Pleasure. So here's Rosa, and if you look carefully right up in this area, you see 2 fruit hanging, and that was from the very early bloom that Rosa had. Just the top part of the tree bloomed very early, but you can see there's a ton of fruit set. These little grape-sized fruit right now. So all this seems to be a pretty good year for Rosa. We've got fruit over here, and then we have flowers over here. So different parts of the tree just flower at different times. one of our turpentine trees. It's a rather old tree, and it looks like it's going to be a good year. Last year was not particularly good, so hopefully we'll have a lot of fruit this year. This is Valkyrie, cross between Valencia Pride and Carey, and it looks like it's supporting pretty much fruit this year. But this is crazy. Lemon meringue, Hopi Polite, and just loaded with fruit. It's just similar to a lot of our lemon meringue trees. Of course, a lot of this fruit is going to drop. It can't support all of the fruit, but it's very impressive. This is another lemon meringue. Got a lot of fruit, not quite as impressive as the last one, just I think because of the shape of the tree. Beverly. There's a little bit of Beverly here, but it's sort of going branch by branch. That branch has more. I'm guessing that the fairly recent cold snap that we had will trigger the rest of the tree to bloom. At least I'm hoping that. It's another Carey tree. And one of the things about Carey that's nice is that when it sets fruit, it generally holds on to it. So, of course, it's not going to hold on to, like 10 fruit on one panicle. But it's, if it has fruit on it right now, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good year. Carey always seems to be a consistent producer. This is sweet tart, and the only fruit I'm seeing right now, right there, there's about 3 fruit on that one tiny branch. But hopefully we'll get some more flowers on this soon. Oh, we have one other panicle right here. But definitely needs to produce more. That's not typical. This is Van Dyke. It used to be a little bit larger tree, as you can tell. We cut it back. And actually I'm trying to top work part of the tree. So right here we have a successful graft, and that's the only one. Now the unfortunate thing about this graft is that I didn't mark it, or at least if I marked it, the mark has faded or something. So I'm not sure what variety this is. So what I do in this circumstance, and this is going to be testing my patience, is that I wait for this new growth to grow, and then I harvest scions from this to put on these other little branches here. So it'll be a long project here. Here we have Duncan right next door to practically to the other Duncan, and this one has a lot of fruit on it. So this is a little older tree, or actually a lot older tree, but I don't think that that's why it has so much more fruit. I think that the other one probably was just in a different stage of growth when the first cold snap happened. But yeah, this is a lot of fruit. Duncan is one that really sort of overproduces. So it's definitely, if you can thin the fruit on the panicle, it's better. You get better, you get bigger fruit. Instead of having clusters of fruit, you just have a few on the panicle and they get bigger. This is Zill mango on the top, and it looks like a pretty good year for Zill. Got a lot of fruit. those panicles on this side of the tree. And then down here is Venus. I put Venus on this lower branch, and it looks like we're going to have some Venus fruit this year. Of course, you know, there's some that won't make it. This one, even though it looks green, it has a few dots on it. So time to take it off. But we've got a lot. All of this area here is Venus, and it needs to flower still. The north side of the Venus has a few flowers on it, a few fruit now, but this side doesn't have any yet. So hopefully this last cold snap will have triggered it, and we'll see that in a few weeks. So here's a Glen tree. Got a little bit of fruit. It's not loaded by any means, but we do have some. This is also a Glen tree, and the top part right here has a lot of fruit. The rest of the tree doesn't have a lot yet. I'm seeing a lot of empty panicles on this. This is Edward. Of course, we have fruit, but there's a lot of empty panicles also. Here's another Glen tree. A little bit of fruit set, but not very much yet. So hopefully it will flower soon. Glen's usually pretty reliable, but this is a little bit younger tree than the first two, and it's definitely not showing much fruit. Here's Dot, and certain areas, like the top of the tree, seems to have a lot of fruit set. This side does not. We've got a little bit. Yeah, mostly the top of the tree. Here's another Beverly. And this area of the tree has a lot of fruit on the top. And the rest, well, we've got a little bit here too. So it's sort of spotty on the rest of the tree. This is Southern Blush. And got a little bit of fruit right in that area. On the top. We cut this tree back in a major way. Big branch out of here, and cut this back here also as a not as big of a branch, but more light to what is remaining on the tree. But yeah, still needs a little more fruit, I think. Valencia Pride. And Valencia Pride has not been blooming very much anywhere in the grove yet. So I'm hoping for a late bloom, but right now it just pretty much looks like nice leaves. So this is Jahangir, and we have fruit here, a little bit there, but the rest of the tree doesn't have very much in the way of fruit or flowers. Right next door we have Juliet, and last year wasn't particularly good for this tree, and it looks like we have a lot of fruit set for this year. So this is Cushman. Again, took out a major part of this tree right here. And I've been trying to convert half of the tree to Sugarloaf or E4. This is a successful graft. This side I'm still waiting to be successful on. But Cushman this tree was getting to be rather large and hard to see the fruit. So when we cut about a third of it back, that area is getting a lot more sun, and it's got a lot of fruit set, and hopefully we'll be able to see the fruit and easily pick it. But yeah, so far it's looking like a good year for Cushman. So this is one of our Kent trees. We have several of these big Kents. And so I thought this part of Kent I could change to something else. And this is actually Pina Colada. There's a couple places that I haven't yet grafted, well, successfully. So there are a few, I think they're mostly very, very small shoots that I still need to graft. I think that these larger ones are Pina Colada. So anyway, hoping to get some fruit from this section of the tree also. So another one of our Kent trees. Cut it back a little bit. And it's not really flowering or fruiting yet, so just see how it goes. So it could start flowering very soon, because we did have that recent cold snap. We'll just have to see. This is Bombay. Last year, this tree produced very few fruit. It's an interesting tree because I think this was Hurricane Wilma that really sort of knocked it over, and we piled a bunch of sand around its roots, so that's why it's a little bit higher than the other trees are. But right here, you can see a lot of small fruit. There's a bunch on the top of the tree also, so I'm hoping that all develops. You never know until it happens, but I'm hoping. There's just been a lot of frustrated Bombay customers. It's a nice fruit, and it was a shame we didn't have much to sell last year. This is our original Julie tree, and it's easy to tell where we don't have Julie because the panicles actually turn green, and where there's fruit they stay red. So there's a lot of green or whitish green panicles here where there wasn't any fruit set. But even though it looks like tons of panicles that don't have fruit, this tree produces so many flowers that even when a lot of them are not successful, you still have quite a few fruit, as you can see on the top of the tree. So we're hoping they all develop. We'll see. And this is another lemon meringue. Not quite as impressive as that one we just saw, but there's quite a few fruit. If it holds on to like a third of that fruit, it'll be a good year. And this is fun. This is a topwort tree, fairly recently topworked to Edgar. We had possibly 4 fruits from this tree last year, and this year it looks like we're getting more. We've got fruit over here, we've got fruit in this area, So hopefully a lot of people will be able to taste Edgar. So this is one of our cogswall trees. It didn't bloom with the first crowd. This is a little bit later that this bloom happened, and there's just sort of a few panicles around that have fruit. Like this whole area doesn't. So, the areas that don't have any fruit or empty panicles, they might flower still. We do have some fruit on the tree. It's just not as heavy as many years. This is Namdok Mai again. Another one of those that variety. And this section of the tree looks like it has a lot of fruit, but there are other sections that don't. I hardly recognize this tree. This is Zill Indochinese, our first one, and it's looking a lot greener than it has for a while. A lot of times, a lot of years, these leaves have been fairly yellow and spotted at this time of year. But we did trim it back, and we've been spraying it with kelp and that kind of thing, and it looks pretty darn good. So even though it doesn't seem like it has any flowers yet, it looks, oh, we do have, I see one little bit of fruit. But, that's not a lot to get excited about. Hopefully it will bloom soon and, set a lot of fruit. Nice fruit. And then this next one is Bailey's Marvel. And last year was not a great year for us for Bailey's Marvel. This year, we've got, on this side of the tree, looks like it's a pretty good fruit set. There's certain other areas that really haven't bloomed yet, but maybe they'll bloom. Now this is Pettigrew, and last year I think was our best Pettigrew year. This is our only tree, and late season we had a ton of fruit. Now I'm seeing a little bit of fruit here. Just probably a handful of fruit will develop from that area, but most of the tree, it looks like, has not yet bloomed. That's fine as long as it, still blooms this year, because, it was great as a late season fruit, so hopefully it will bloom a little, in a few weeks, or I'm okay with it even blooming in a few months as long as it has fruit down the road. Tree looks healthy, so we'll just cross our fingers on that one. And this is another one of our Kent trees. And again, I'm not seeing any fruit or flowers on this tree. But interestingly, this is a Kent tree, and we got a lot of fruit on this one. It's quite a bit younger than this other one, so my guess is that conditions were a little bit different. The maturity of the leaves that were on there when we had the cold snap might have been a factor, and also it's more exposed to the north winds. It's just right next to our path for trucks. But anyway, we're seeing a lot of fruit on this little, young Kent tree. This is another lemon meringue. It's got a pretty good fruit set. A lot of our other lemon meringues have more, but still, you know, could still flower and fruit in those other areas that don't have fruit yet. This is Jakarta. This is our main Jakarta tree. It's been a really very nice producer over the years. Often we have multiple crops, and you know, for Jakarta, you know, it's a fairly large fruit. There's pretty good amount of fruit set on this tree, so hopefully we'll get a lot of mangoes from this fruit set, and then it will flower in other areas. And this is a little cherry tree. It's got nice fruit set. It's a little bit younger tree than the rest of the grove because the original tree was like pretty much blown out of the ground from a hurricane. It's a replacement tree. Here's Graham, and it looks like we've got quite a bit of fruit set on Graham. This is another one of our cherry trees over here. We've got fruit up on the top. And in the shady areas, not so much in the way of flowers. There is one branch of Keo Savoy, which I believe is this. You can see a difference in the leaves. They're not quite as shiny, and there's a little bit different shape. So this was the original tree, Keo Savoy, and we weren't selling that variety, so I switched it over to Carrie, and of course after I did that, then people were asking for Keo Savoy, so oh well. This is one of our Pimsengmun trees, and it is looking like a very good year for Pimsengmun. This last year we cut out some major branches in the middle because we didn't want it to get too tall. And after the fruiting season this year, there's some other major branches that we'll take out. So it's best if you want to keep a tree in production to just eliminate a few of the major branches each year and work your way around the tree. That way you also have some old growth to set fruit. This is also Pimsengmun, and you know, there's areas of this tree that have a lot of fruit also. And this is one of our cogswall trees. Depending on the area of the tree you're looking at, depends on how much fruit you're seeing, but looks pretty good. Sort of an average year for cogswall, possibly. Cogswall is one of those reliable producers that is often one of our first varieties to have fruit available. But this year it doesn't look like it's going to be as early as it normally is. Now here's ice cream mango. And the interesting thing about this tree, I mean, it was crazy loaded with flowers. And the first area of the tree to flower was mostly on this side of, you know, the south side of the tree, but on the west side of the south. And in that area, there's very little fruit. And then just moving a few feet over, and there's a lot more fruit. I mean, it's not loaded, but there's a significant amount of fruit on this area. And I think the reason for that is that the flowers were at slightly different stages. My guess is that powdery mildew got those flowers, or a lot of them, and the timing of the flowering, worked out well with the weather. And, there was, these last couple months have been, we've had a lot of wind. And so we can't spray when there's a lot of wind. So sometimes you just have to sort of weather it out. And fortunately, this side of the ice cream tree is looking pretty good. This is another Namdak Mai, and yeah, lots of beautiful fruit, nice lighting. So hopefully that will all translate to very tasty fruit down the road. This is another lemon meringue. We've got a lot of fruit over here, not so much in this area. Probably just the different stage of the growth on those two areas. This is Dupuis Saigon. Last year wasn't great for this particular variety. We've got some fruit in this section, so we do have some fruit coming. Hopefully we have more flowers coming though, because that would be lovely. So this is one of our kit trees that I decided to cut back and top work, but I haven't top worked it yet. Got a lot of shoots that I could graft onto. It'd be nice if I got some stuff grafted onto it really soon, because it's not going to get better as far as the grafting opportunities unless I cut it back again. But even though we cut the heck out of this tree, it was, this is major cut. This is a part of it. That's just one. The other side has an equally large cut on it on that one branch. We cut this. This was going up like 12 feet or so. And even so, we have some fruit that formed here, and then fruit over here. So I'll just avoid grafting on the part of the tree until this fruit develops. That's going to be down the road, but got plenty to keep me busy on the center part of the tree. So here's another kit tree right next door to the one that I'm going to start top working soon. It's a little bit younger tree. It was very productive last year. Right now, I don't think I see any flowers, empty panicles, or fruit. So possibly we'll have fruit a little bit later in the season. We'll see. And then here's Palmer. Palmer we didn't get a lot of fruit from last year. It's a nice late season fruit. And right now I'm seeing quite a few fruit on the tree. This section over here, and then right over here, around there. So it's going to be, looks like it's going to be a pretty good year for Palmer. We'll take a quick look over here at Valencia Pride. Here's our little tree. It might be semi-dwarf, but no flowers, no fruit. One of the larger trees, no flowers, no fruit, as far as I can tell. That has some fruit, so small fruit right here. The rest of the tree really doesn't have anything. One other little branch over in this area. So hopefully Valencia Pride will get its act together soon and start flowering. This is one of our Malika trees, and we have little clusters of fruit. Some of the tree hasn't flowered yet, a lot of the tree, but we do have some fruit showing. And here's another one of our cherry trees, and some of the fruit up here is getting fairly large, but we've got some other areas that haven't yet flowered yet. And right here we have a lot of empty panicles, so we'll see how that goes. Cherry again, this one right here. And again, it sort of is spotty. We have a few fruit here, over here, and empty panicles. So, see how that plays out. This is our original Promtimea tree. Now this side doesn't seem to have anything going on yet. Oh, wait a second. It was shy. We have a few little panicles here that have some fruit, have way too much fruit. They're just sort of gently rubbing some of that off. If it comes off with me just rubbing, I'm not trying to pull the fruit off, then anyway, that would have come off anyway. But yeah, I think that's it. This so far for Promtimea, it's those two panicles of fruit. This is another Beverly, and this Beverly has a lot of fruit. The other ones that we looked at in the first part of the walkabout, not so much. So this is just beautiful. A lot of fruit cut. This is our original Neelam tree. This side is not flowering yet, not fruiting. And got some fruit up here, some fruit there. Yeah, over here, this one little area of the tree, this was probably a branch that was older, and this other stuff had been trimmed to have newer leaves. So anyway, this area flowered and fruited, and a few other areas did also. I expect that these other younger parts will just flower later, hopefully, like within the next month, and then we'll have, 2 crops on this tree. And then this is another one of our Malika trees, and we've got some fruit in different sections. The whole tree hasn't flowered yet, but we've had, like different sections of the tree that have set fruit. Right here, this is like the best part of this particular tree right now. And then this area hasn't flowered and fruited yet. So just different timings. It's hard to have the entire tree on the same time schedule because the way we trim trees, sometimes we take out a major branch and then that throws the timing of that new growth off from the rest of the tree. And then also the weather is different. I mean, this part of the tree gets more sun on the south side, and plus the driveways here, and then the other side does. But then there's other areas that are more exposed to the cold. Some people, some places are more exposed to the wind. So, it's the bottom line is we just hope for a good fruit year for all the trees. It's looking pretty good so far, and you don't know until you pick the fruit how much fruit you'll have. So here's one of our dwarf Hawaiian trees. I've got lots of nice fruit all over the tree. This particular area we did a little experiment on. I was afraid that the leaves were too young on the tree to set fruit, and so I took off the new growth, and it did set fruit, but because of the timing of the cold, the rest of the tree actually had time to mature, and it set fruit too. So it's basically the same schedule in this area. It was a quick experiment, but I like to do those kind of things here and there. And this is Ryan, and Ryan flowered like crazy, and the bad news so far is that I am not seeing much fruit set at all. Lots and lots of empty panicles. Now, there are some years, a lot of years actually, that we have 2 crops of Ryan on the tree, and so I'm hoping that this will be one of those years where it blooms again. And so no fruit on the tree now isn't necessarily tragic. I'm hoping that because of the cold that we've had recently, it'll trigger another bloom on this tree. And this is fun. Grafted sweet tart on the top of the tree, and the original sweet tart tree that was in the grove, that was our first location of having sweet tart, like basically no fruit, and this is just loaded on the top of the tree. This is Page, our one and only Page tree, and so far it looks like a great year. It might be our best year for Page, but I don't want to jinx anything. You never know what can happen to fruit, and it's like you can't count your chickens. You can't count your chickens before they're hatched. This is Glenn. Got some fruit, and another Nam Dak Mai, crazy loaded with fruit. Just an amazing, amazing year for Nam Dak Mai fruit set. So I hope that it translates to a lot of fruit. So here's our other dwarf Hawaiian tree. It has a lot of beautiful young fruit on it right now. Dwarf Hawaiian is usually the second variety of mango that's available once we start picking mangoes, Rosa being the first. And it generally has a pretty long season. So we're hoping that the weather stays good for, of course, this tree and all the trees. Now, there are some of the varieties that basically haven't flowered yet or have produced so few flowers that it's not worth mentioning, really. And so there's still hope. We did have that recent cold snap, and hopefully that will trigger the varieties that don't have fruit or flowers on them right now to bloom. So we'll check back in a few months, but right now it looks pretty good for most of the varieties in the grove.